I've always believed in the power of the human spirit, just the power of people and the strength that is within us all, and that everybody has these great gifts within them. And if you can just unlock them, then great things can happen. If you can unlock each person's strength, like let's say you've got a boardroom table and you can truly get everyone to trust each other, collaborate at a detailed level, and bring their strengths to the table, magic can happen.
Welcome back to the Meg and Amy Show. Today we are interviewing Jill Popelka, a good friend and former colleague of ours. Jill is the CEO of Darktrace, a cybersecurity company, having first joined the company as a non-executive director on the board. Prior to this, she spent most of her career at global enterprise applications provider SAP, where she was president of SAP SuccessFactors, the company's cloud-based human capital management software. She began her career at Accenture after earning a BA at Texas A&M. Today, we're going to dig into her journey, learnings, and superpowers. Jill, welcome, and thank you so much for being one of our besties. In fact, Meg and I have been chasing you around the world, trying to get you to pay attention to us. We've been to glamorous places like London and Germany and Pebble Beach, Temple, Texas, and maybe some not so glamorous places too. I won't mention which of those are which. Where are you now? Because you're a glamorous CEO. Are you somewhere glamorous right now?
Oh, I'm in Hollywood right now. I'm in LA, so I guess that's glamorous. But I will say that the true sign of friendship is when your friends will come and visit you in your hometown. So thank you guys both for coming all the way to Temple, Texas. It is a small place, but I'm very fond of it, and I'm glad that you guys were able to experience it with me.
We would follow you anywhere, Jill.
We would literally follow you anywhere.
So, Jill, one of the big things that we wanted to talk about is you have recently joined Darktrace. It's been a little bit of time now. And I think most of us are super interested in the journey of how did you get introduced to Darktrace? How did you get introduced to Thoma Bravo? And how did the journey for you towards CEO of this amazing company happen?
Oh, thanks for the question. I'll keep it short, and you guys can follow up if you'd like to. When I was the president of SuccessFactors, and we were kind of coming out of COVID, I realized that I really wanted to be on a board. That was just an experience that I was looking to have. And so, I reached out to some recruiting firms and told them that I was kind of in the market and I would love to be considered for a board. I had some technology experience, obviously. I had global experience, living and working in Singapore. I'd led an integrated business unit at SuccessFactors, and so I thought I had something to offer, and I joined a private equity board. Well, that kind of led into other opportunities to talk to other private equity firms about other roles. And so I spoke to a few about board roles, non-executive director type roles, and in the course of those interviews, I talked to some of the operating partners at Thoma Bravo. It was a great conversation, really, really enjoyed talking to them. Fast forward a little bit, and Poppy Gustafson from Darktrace called and invited me to be a non-executive director on her board. It was a publicly listed London-listed company at the time, and I joined the Darktrace board. Well, as I was coming on board to Darktrace, I got to meet all of their great executives. I got to enjoy just board membership, engaging with the other board members and learning what it means.
I think you did something kind of special there. Something that I think is worth pointing out. That's very Jill specific, right? So when you went to the first board meeting, what did you do? You didn't just go read all the papers and go to the board meeting. What did you do?
I went a week in advance and met all the executives at Darktrace so that I could understand what they were struggling with and what their journeys were and how, what they thought the company needed and how I could help them. And yeah, so here I am today, the CEO of Darktrace. How did we get there? Well, we had an offer to be taken private. Somewhere in the journey, Poppy asked me if I would come on board full time to be the COO. And then about the same time that Thoma Bravo officially closed the transaction, Toma Bravo and Poppy, everyone agreed, and I became CEO of Darktrace. So here I am.
So, Jill, we hear so much about private equity. Obviously, there's a lot of technology inside of private equity right now and a lot of growth inside of private equity in technology businesses. Give us a little sense of what does it feel like and what is the advantage of being part of a private equity portfolio for you joining Darktrace in this moment?
You know, my experience in private equity has been very positive. And so I'll talk specifically about Toma Bravo because I feel like, first of all, I think I have the greatest deal team in the world. And what does that mean? It means that, you know, the leader of this particular, the cybersecurity portfolio at Toma Bravo is Seth Borough. He's incredible. Andrew Almeida and Nabil Hamade, our group is really incredible. There are resources because they have so much experience in this market, in the industry. They know how to guide us. If I have questions about the business, about the market, I can go and ask our deal team. They do a great job. We also have some operating partners that are great at leading our business. So the resources that we have in order to help understand what other companies are doing that are creating excellence, not only in operations, but in growth, and also in, you know, the product space is just incredible.
I love that. And I think that is really helpful. When I talk to CEOs, a lot of them mentioned that, unsurprisingly, it's a little bit lonely. It's very hard to have deep conversations about what should you do or get the kind of advice that's super helpful. But to have people that are really invested in your success and true partners, I think has got to be really beneficial to do interesting and big things for your business. Do you feel that momentum, that they're truly helping you, or are they holding you back from your ambitions there?
Truly helping. I mean, I think, first of all, we have a foundation of trust, and that foundation of trust comes from a few things. First of all, we all want the best for Darktrace. We all want Darktrace to grow and be successful. Every single person from the operating partner team to the deal team, they're fantastic at helping us think about how to be successful. And when you all align on that one vision and mission, that really helps. They also give candid feedback. And so we have a great, based on trust, transparent relationship. And so I can take them ideas, I can take them new things, and they can give me feedback. But they also empower me and the executive team at Darktrace to do the things that we believe are best for growth.
Yeah, I was wondering how that balance works between, you know, being part of the team and also giving you autonomy. So is that, like, how do you balance that?
You know, we're learning. I've been at this for about 6 months, Amy. And so I think it's, as any relationship goes, you build trust along the way through transparency and through conversation, right? And just being authentic in those conversations. Like I generally believe that they want what's best for us. So I'm very willing to take to them ideas and thoughts on what we need to do next. And then they'll give me feedback on where this maybe has worked before, where it hasn't. And then they generally give me the autonomy to actually go and do the job. So, you know, the three of us have talked a lot about the importance of agency. And I think agency is super important. I believe Toma Bravo gets that. And the culture from Orlando Bravo and Carl Toma through the company is that they believe in their management teams and they believe in their leadership teams and they, you know, support them to success.
Well, certainly having aligned incentives helps too, I would imagine, right? Like you all have the same goal in mind, which is helping the business to grow and to meet its objectives. So I think that has to help with making sure that the ideas aren't random ideas, they're ideas aligned with those shared goals.
It's great to bring the spreadsheet work into the conversation, Meg. You're absolutely right. When we set the targets, we all align on those targets, right? But when we are incented toward the target, it's a single target, and that's generally EBITDA, right? You want the growth, but you also want to do that profitably.
I want to get a little bit more into the emotions, and I think Meg mentioned like loneliness. So, you know, it can be really lonely at the top, and you're such a people person. How do you manage that? Like, how do you keep the the demons away and stop from being too lonely?
Well, it can occasionally feel lonely. That's right. I have a fabulous chairman of the board, and I have great friends. And so, you know, on the work side, I'll, you know, start with that. I sincerely believe that my chairman is not just guiding the business, he's also a mentor for me, and that's really helpful. And that means that I don't feel entirely lonely in the workplace and at the board table. But then I also have incredible friends like the two of you, and Lee Turner at Coupa is a CEO that's a very good friend of mine as well, and in the same role. And so it helps just to know that there are people out there that are fighting the same battles and doing some of the same things that you are. And I absolutely text Lee occasionally and say, "Woo, rough day," right? And she'll text back and just we'll say that we're in the same place. So I think friendships are really important as you go through a journey in this role.
Now, the chairman of the board, was he a mentor to you before you took on the role, or did he just step right in the moment you took the job?
It's almost a trick question, Amy, but it's a great question. So there's time between when the deal is established and then when it's closed. And so in that time, Charles and I couldn't really talk. We couldn't talk business. We couldn't talk about anything. I had met him once before, but then there was a time when we really couldn't. It was against the rules to really have deep conversations. But then once the deal was closed, we absolutely started deep conversations about the business.
Well, we do all know that building trusted relationships is your superpower, Jill. So I don't, I'm not at all surprised that you find people that really are deeply interested in helping and supporting you, because that's everything you bring to the world. I wanted to shift a little bit and talk about your process. So again, genius, your idea of, hey, I'm a new board member, but maybe this is also an opportunity to be curious about the business and to build trust and relationships with the people running the business. I think that is obvious, like an amazing idea, and then probably something no one else ever does. I'd love to get a little bit more of your techniques for getting into new industries. Obviously, we worked together at SAP SuccessFactors, working in enterprise software for HR leaders. Then you went to Snap, and you worked in virtual reality and the business uses of that. And now you're at Darktrace working in cybersecurity. I'm not going to say that there's not some commonality in those Venn diagrams, but there's quite a lot to learn in each of those industries. And I think I would really be interested to understand, how do you think about getting up to speed in both the business and the products? And then also, what are some of the things you lean on to create that confidence in how to understand and represent those product portalios?
Meg, I think you know this. I started my career in consulting. And so when you're in consulting, you actually get some exposure over lots of different business models. And so I've always had great curiosity, and I love to learn. Learning is a passion of mine. The whole education space is something that I'm super passionate about. I sincerely believe that's it's the magic of humans, right? Is that their ability to learn and to educate ourselves on different new things and continue to grow. The three things that you just described, kind of going HR, right, to virtual reality, augmented reality, and into cybersecurity, all three of those are super innovative new technologies, right? There's a lot going on in the HR space that was super interesting around how to progress the world of work. And I love, I think you and Amy and I had so much fun, right, when we were talking about what we could do in order to help humans be more productive and learn better, right, and be more effective during the workday. And so many things that are interesting and innovative about that. Same in VR and AR and cybersecurity, I'm finding is, of those, definitely the most challenging. It's highly technical. There's a very complex landscape. The bigger challenge is that people don't always want to talk about it. If you're a CISO at a big company, you actually want to be very careful not to share all the secrets of how you're protecting your company, right? So it's almost a little bit even greater challenge, kind of a double challenge, if you will, Meg. I want to go learn about it, but I need to go learn about those really interesting approaches. That said, I think the whole world of cybersecurity really wants to protect. It's kind of a noble cause, and I think that's something very much in common with the HR space. And when you find people like that, being able to learn from them is a real joy for me. It's just fun. So how do I go about it? I listen to everything that I can. I read everything that I can. And then I try to engage with people, real people that are passionate and care about this, because that's the best way to learn, really, is just in person and doing it. In my first couple of weeks at Darktrace, I decided to learn the product well enough that I could demo the product for all of our employees. And I spent the first couple of all hands calls demoing the product, because what better way to learn than to do it, right? And then to put myself out there a little bit to encourage the rest of the company as well to deeply learn the product, because we have such a differentiated value message, and I want to make sure they're doesn't just know it, but they can use it.
Yeah, and I do know that wasn't just well received, that was enthusiastically appreciated. And unsurprisingly, those of us that have worked in product really appreciate it when everybody loves what you build, because I think that creates better connection with customers, better connection with shareholders, and better connection with teams that work for you. So bravo to that. I have one other thing that I think is a bit of a nuance that is worth talking about. So SAP SuccessFactors, a German-based company, Snap, Southern California-based company, and now Darktrace, a UK-based company. And then you mentioned you've spent a fair bit of time in Asia. You've had an opportunity to work across a lot of different cultures. And how has that helped you become a better leader and a better person? And what do you think is your secret with building connections for people who maybe connect differently than you do?
Great question, Meg. I think traveling around the world is something that I love, but remember, that's also learning for me, right? It's learning about other cultures and other people and seeking to understand truly the depth of culture and the people in that culture is really, it's important to me, because I feel like this world that we live in, we continue to get closer. And I know there's some crazy things going on right now in the world geopolitically, but I think at the same time, just with technology, we are so interconnected. So understanding what's happening on the other side of a screen for somebody that's in Japan, understanding what they're dealing with versus maybe somebody in India or Australia, I didn't feel like I could really understand that deeply enough unless I was there. And so I spent some time really getting to know the cultures and the people. Buyer values are different, right? The way that they use software is different. The way that they interact in terms of work culture is so different. And so just throwing myself into it and being able to learn that it was just a great honor for me to be able to do that and spend some time there. I think made me a little bit better leader, because even though I can't get to Asia all the time, at least I can connect to my teams in Asia, knowing the culture that they live in.
Yeah, we talk a lot about curiosity as being such an important trait in today's leadership world. And I think that you embody that in spades, Jill, and it's been such an important part. And it's not just something that you're saying. I remember when you would come to my product all hands meetings and people would be, presenting something, and you were so curious and so authentically curious, and it's really beautiful. So I want to go back in time a little bit to younger Jill, because I believe that you were born to be a CEO. But I'm wondering when you realized that you had some leadership superpowers and this was meant to be your path. How did you develop yourself to along the way to get to where you are now?
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. The proof that we didn't have all these questions planned, and this is authentically me answering this question. Amy, I've always believed in the power of the human spirit, just the power of people and the strength that is within us all, and that everybody has these great gifts within them. And if you can just unlock them, then great things can happen. If you can unlock each person's strength, like let's say you've got a boardroom table and you can truly get everyone to trust each other, collaborate at a detailed level, and bring their strengths to the table, magic can happen. Incredible growth. That's how amazing companies happen, right? Is that we as humans are working together toward the same objective. When is the first time that I felt that? I'd say it's probably in the early days of SAP, when I was hired into SAP and kind of given my own P&L to lead, right? I had to really think about how are we going to achieve all these numbers. So it was a complex challenge that we had. I had to have the right people around the table, and we had to make sure that everybody was bringing their strengths to the table. People aren't used to that. They're operating in their silos. They've got their job scope and their role, and so they're off doing that. And if they do that really well, then they're going to be paid for it, and that's all they care about. But wait a minute. Couldn't we do more if we were all helping each other, right? All challenging each other. And if we trusted each other enough to really be both critical and supportive when that's needed around a table. And so, I think for the first couple of times, I was in a role leading a small consulting team in the US at SAP. And I think the first time I did that and I saw people smiling and excited and we beat our numbers, right? That's what kind of made me realize that, hey, this really works. I think I'm a countercultural leader. I don't think I'm cultural in most companies, right? I'm not a dictator, not command and control. It's not how I do it. I believe you bring out the best in every person at the table and you're going to get some incredible results.
Well, you're definitely not soft, though. That's, I think, the thing that's so unique about you is that you have both this deep interest and honest curiosity and, real connection with people. And yet you still manage to somehow hold everybody accountable to achieve greatness. And I don't think that is like, maybe you don't even fully understand just how big of a deal that is, but I actually I like to think of myself as someone that cares about people. And then I'm in a room with you and I realize I have so much to learn and so much opportunity to grow. And so I think that there's something in that mix of high achievement and then true connection with the human side of the team that I think is really in that mix there, Amy. I don't know. How would you see it?
I think I really miss working with you, Jill.
I like to win. You both know that. I do have a very competitive spirit. And so once we figure out what it's going to take to win, define what is winning, right? And then we figure out what it takes to win, we can run hard toward it. And that's always fun. Winning.
Well, and I think the difference is that a lot of times when people like to win, they like for someone else to lose.
Yeah, not necessarily.
And I think that's the difference is you like others to win too. You like them to win with you. You like them to win beside you, etc. And I think that is the thing everybody, you can't fake that, because when people know that you want them to win, they want to win too. And that's where the infectious energy comes from. And that's what it yields, is something much bigger than what people might have aspired to on their own. Yeah, I want to work with you too, Jill.
Jill, we have a little tradition for our next segment. It's called Leadership Corner. And so we take questions from the audience about leadership, and because you are such a fantastic leader, would you care to participate in our leadership corner?
I'd love to play. Let's go.
Okay, let's play. You ready? Okay, so our question is the following. Another executive at work is purposely dragging his feet on things and then making it out to be my fault. It is draining all my energy. How should I approach to make it stop?
I think this is maybe on brand here after what you guys have just said about my leadership style. And I would go seek to understand, why are we slowing down here? What is the purpose? You said that the individual is purposely slowing down and then blaming me. Let's focus on, why are we slowing down? Like, what's going on? Because if I can understand what's behind that person's struggle, obstacle, lack of motivation, maybe I can find a way to help, right? And that will solve, that's the root cause, so that'll solve the rest of the problem. So I think I would start with seeking to understand.
I think that I would add on to that, because that's such a smart strategy. And it's also really hard when you're feeling drained.
It's so hard. Right?
Because you're feeling like, oh, the story you're telling yourself is they're out to get me. They're just trying to diminish my role or whatever. And so even if that story is true, it's very unhelpful for you to tell yourself that story. It's much more helpful for you to tell yourself the story. Something about this is causing fear and anxiety and stress in them. And how can I better understand what that cause is so that I can mitigate it upstream? And then at the worst, I can better protect myself because I'll have more information. But at the best, I can find that shared path to achievement that helps them feel important and therefore gets them on my side and on my team.
Great answer, Meg.
It's really interesting because, so Jill, your answer is so optimistic of human behavior, right? And I would tend towards that as well, but it's burned me in the past, right? Where I'm very trusting and, and I want to believe the best in people, but sometimes they actually are sabotaging, like truly, right? And so I like Meg's twist on it, which is like, well, first of all, you're putting it away from you. So it's not about you, it's about them. And there's probably something wrong. And then applying the kindness that you mentioned, Jill, which is, being curious about what is it, for them, but not so much so that you're making yourself more vulnerable, but ultimately protecting your own psyche. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
You two should talk more.
We agree.
I agree completely. And we should have Amy over here to help us understand what it is we actually think we know.
All right. So before we let you go, Jill, we have one last question. And that is, what is one unexpected, or maybe two, I don't know, unexpected joy or challenge of the CEO role that you wish someone had told you about before you took the leap?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. There really, truly are so many joys and so many great experiences, and it's really an honor to be in this role. But I think the best is it's hearing from people. It's that I get feedback from our teams, right, on what other people have done. Generally because they want me to go thank or congratulate another person on the team, right? And it's so fun for me to see the great things that we're doing and then have the opportunity to highlight it and be in a place where, they get excited when they get an extra phone call or an extra email from me. So I'm just honored to be part of this team that's both so brilliant, but also humble enough to recognize others across the business. And that's what's really fun.
So you're in the business of high fives for some percentage of your job. That's great.
So no one ever comes to you with problems.
It does happen all the time, but you asked me about the joys.
It's just all the glory, right?
You asked me about the joy and the glory. That's right.
Nothing hard about the job at all.
I get all the easy problems. That's right.
Well, this has been just so great, Jill. We adore you, as you know, and we are so happy our listeners get to hear some of your really important tips on how to think about leadership and also how to build relationships, because you just gave us a masterclass in that.
Well, you guys are incredible, and the world is lucky to have you two interviewing people, and I'm honored to be on the show here and looking forward to coming back at some point. So thank you for having me.
Well, that was pretty amazing. What do you think, Meg?
Well, I knew it was going to be great, but I'm always learning something when I'm around Jill.
What did you learn today?
Well, for me, I think it was a masterclass in reminding me that talking to all the different stakeholders multiple times is always going to help you out. It's going to help you out if there's a problem. It's going to help you out for onboarding. It's going to help you out for getting clear on the business, and it's going to give you new insights. So unsurprising, but really, really good reminder.
And I think that the honest curiosity of what's really going on with people and what people really think and need, and not at the expense of your own self, it will help you. What a great first guest. We have another guest coming up.
I am honored that my friend and the amazing Laszlo Bach, founder, investor, HR extraordinaire, literally wrote the book about work, is going to come talk to Meg and Amy and teach us all of the things that he has learned in his own journey.
Please do send your questions into the Leadership Corner. We do take that seriously. And please do subscribe to the Meg and Amy Show and spread the word.
Yeah, let's invent the future together. I believe in us.
Let's make every day count.